Hi, welcome to the Building Blocks of Bass. My name is Bob Taboo. Happy Monday. We're here each and every Monday to talk about basically the bass, right? Whether it's upright bass, electric bass. And we're going to talk about something very essential today. One of the first things that we learn as bass players is that we need to play the root. We have to have good time. We have to be able to know what the roots are with whatever chord changes we're playing, right? So that is fantastic, and we've actually addressed that in the Building Blocks of Bass before. But the next step, even before scales, to me, is triads. So much of what's built in bass lines is coming from triads. If we just even take the C major triad, for instance, and this is just a really quick refresher on triads and what that is. Triads literally is 3 notes until it repeats, right? So if we take the key of C, all the white keys on a piano, we have C, E, G, and then you're at C again, right? So, but if you put notes in between those, it's like going from C to E. If I put a whole step in between, well, I'm playing my major scale now, right? But I'm playing the notes that are, well, we get the 7th there, but that's just another note leading to the root again, right? So knowing the triads is really essential to getting the lower foundational parts of any chord. And we have to know them incredibly quick and all over the bass to be functioning bass players, in my opinion. And this is whether you're playing in 2, whether you're walking. And so that's really, that's my push for why we practice, why I needed to practice my triads so in depth and so thoroughly, okay? So, hey, what's up, Scotty? I see my friend Matt Villinger's here. What's up? What's up? Oh, and seeing some love for the concert the other day. So really glad. Thank you. Okay. Shane, definitely we have some right hand articulation and some high tempo. We'll work on actually some of that today. So, okay, I'm going to head on over to the to some of my graphics here. And let me just play you first what I want to work on today. Okay, so this is all triads. The concept, let me just play it first. Okay, let me play it first. Something like this. So it sounds, I don't know, it sounds kind of like Bach-ish to me, right? What I was doing was going around the cycle of fourths, first playing my major triads, literally around the cycle of fourths, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, and G. You can find, if that's something you need to work on, you can find videos to help you with that. If you don't understand triads, you can find videos to help you with that. All that information's out there. Today, I just want to talk about a good way to practice it. So, typically we practice triads as bass players, or I guess any musician really. We play triads thinking about from the root and going up most often. If I ask a new student, play me a B flat triad, they'll likely do this. And then I'll say, all right, 2 octaves. And that's great. You should know that. You should know that for sure. But in real music or in real bass lines, we don't always start from that root. We need to know what's below it, right? And what's above it, and expand our range or contract it, but really know what's inside of a certain range. So what I did in that previous example was I only played my major triads, and then I went a little bit minor towards the end, just to show the different color, and you can do that with all of these. Is I'm playing from this C, every note that's inside of whatever triad I'm trying to work on down to this open E, okay? So if we just take this range and go through all of our cycle of fourths playing the major triads, we're really gonna get to know them. The point being is that I wanna embrace, the bass is already kind of limited, just being relegated to 4 strings and it's laid out, it's not chromatic like a piano. I wanna embrace the limitations of the bass. My bad analogy, my stupid analogy, I always have them, is that if you see a drummer, not dogging any drummers, but if you see a drummer sit down and his kit is full of cymbals or a million drums, a rack, double bass drum, whatever, well, that cat's probably not going to play the snare drum with any real serious depth. You know what I mean? Probably going to play all of the kit and make it sound, amazing, I'm sure. But what I think is interesting is somebody, if you think about like Max Roach coming on stage with just like a hi-hat or a snare drum and really playing the mess out of that little bit of information right there. It's similar to this idea. How well can we know music inside of this range? And I'm really not going any higher than this C for right now, okay? So let's talk about the C major triad. Just inside of that, it's C, E, and G. I like to practice these descending first because oftentimes we learn them ascending. It's just like with scales too. Make sure you're practicing your scales descending as much, if not more, than ascending, and you'll understand them in a different way, I believe. So what do we have? We have C, E, and G. Let's find all of the notes in that triad inside of just that range that I was talking about, and you can see it here. So C, G, E, C, G, and then finally E. If you have a 5-string, keep going down. If you tune differently, figure that out, it's another thing entirely, but I'm talking about a regularly tuned bass. Okay, so try this with me. Let's just play it around that same tempo. How about 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Then you just keep looping it. Great, excellent. So that's the main concept to get started, right? Take that into the next key. So we're going from C to F now. But the highest note we're able to play, if it fits inside of this, we want it to be a C. So that's our range. That's what we're going to deal with. So now F major triad, F, A, C. The highest note we can play is C again. So C, A, F, C, A, and F again, right? Let's try the same thing. Let's do descending and go back up, descending, go back up. Let's do it like 3 times through. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Try it again. One more time. Right, great. So that gives us everything that we need inside of there. There's possibly different ways to finger this. Let's go from C up, down, and back up, and then into F. So it'll be like this. 3 and 4 and... C. Now we're in F. Right? Clear, right? It makes sense? So let's move that into B flat really quick. Now there's going to be, given our range, because this range can expand, and we'll get to that in a minute. Given our range, we're going to have different amount of notes that are available. Okay? So our key of B flat, C, we're not going to worry about a C in the key of B flat right now. We're doing B flat, D, and F. And we're just doing majors now for our exercise. Of course, do these majors, minors, augmented, and diminished, and I can talk more about that too if you're interested. So, but B flat. B flat's the highest note we can do. B flat, F, D, B flat, F, and then back up. So try it with me. 3 and 4 and... One more time. Great. Let's put them together. Let's do C, F, and B flat. So we're going to go descending, back up, C, descending, back up, F, descending, back up, and B flat. 3 and 4 and... And I'll try to play in tune, sorry. F major. B flat. And you guessed it, the next one will be E flat. Let's hit E flat really quick. So we're going to... Our highest note we can do is B flat. See, I can put that up here too. Our highest note that we can do is B flat in the key of E flat, which is E flat, G, and B flat. So, and it forces you to play in some different inversions because G is the lowest note that we can hit in a standard tuned bass, right? So this would be first inversion, for instance. I didn't even mention in B flat, the lowest note we would do would be an F, so that would be a second inversion triad, which is important to know, but really just knowing the sound and understanding how this all fits together, right? So that's E flat. Let's do C, F, B flat, and E flat now. Let's try it. 3 and 4 and... F. B flat. to double the top note if you didn't already notice that. Cool? Let's move into A flat. A flat. A flat, C, and E flat are our notes in A flat, right? So our highest note that we can hit is this C right over in here, right? So let's play C. We're going to come down, C, A flat, E flat, C, A flat. That's as low as we can go in a standard tune bass. Play that with me. 3 and 4 and. Let's do it again. 3 and 4 and. Cool. Okay, so let's put them all together from C through A flat now. You ready? 3 and 4 and. That's F, right? Here's B flat, E flat, now A flat. Great. So if we keep moving into D flat, the note A flat is the highest one we can hit because it's outside of our range. Nothing is going to go higher than this C right here, just for right now, okay? Just to give you a preview of what's coming up though, or what else you can do with this, is, let's see if I can get myself in here, is that you can expand the range, right? Ugh, this is all live, so if you're watching later, we really are doing this live. I'm just going to step in front of my graphics and all this. You can expand your range, I think I said expand. You can expand your range to understand more of the neck, but really learning it inside of this more compact register and getting fast with it. I saw that comment earlier. We'll get faster with this and we'll work it through multiple keys, but then you expand the range. So I like to do the same exercise from, say, E. Right? So that would put us also right in this area, etc. You know, you can do it from any note really. Just choose a note and try to figure out how to get inside of that. You'll find different fingerings. You'll find different ways of playing just these 3 intervals. It should be said too, there are only 3 intervals we're dealing with, right? We take it back into, let's take it in D flat because that's the key we are in at the moment. Let me see if I can find that. That's not A flat. Here's my D flat, right? So if we think from the root, it's D flat, F, A flat. D flat to F. You can use this as an ear training exercise too. There's so many different things we can practice all at once. So here this D flat, F. That's a major third, that interval. Whether it's going up or going down. D flat, F. It sounds like a major third there, but if you play it descending, F, D flat, ding dong, is what I grew up thinking of for major thirds descending, or maybe giant steps. Yeah, right? From the 3rd to the 5th, F to A flat. F, A flat is a minor third, whether you're going up or down. A flat to F is also a minor third descending. So going up, a lot of times we talk about Iron Man. Or I just played Iron Man on Building Blocks of Bass. My bad. New time, new days are here. No hate. Green sleeves, whatever. There's whatever you come up with. Maybe Remember, if you know that tune, that Hank Mobley tune. Oh, it's not a Hank Mobley tune, but I know it from Soul Station. I'm rambling. If you think about going from A flat down to F, from the 5th to the 3rd in a major triad, that's a minor third descending as well. And a lot of times I'll tell students that sounds like Hey Jude. Hey Jude. Right? Anyways, so our triad exercise though, we're staying inside of this range from C down to E so that we really know the low end of the bass. So let's play this D flat triad finally now that I'm done talking about it. From our highest note, which in this case is only A flat. So let's do A flat, F, D flat. A flat is below the root. We need to know this A flat's down here, and we have yet another one down here. F, right? A flat, D flat, F, A flat. Let's play that through thrice. 3 and 4 and. One more time. Great. Can we get from C to D flat now? Through the cycle of fourths? Let's try it out. 3 and 4 and F is the key. Here comes B flat. Now E flat, A flat, D flat. Cool. It's live. I'm obviously going to make mistakes, even though I've played this a billion times. All right, so let's look at our next key, G flat. So we're going from D flat up a fourth to the key of G flat. The highest note we can do is B flat. So let's do B flat, G flat, D flat, B flat, G flat. 3 times. 3 and 4 and. One more time. Cool. Okay. Let's add them all together now. Let's do C all the way through G flat. 3 and 4 and. E flat, right? Here comes A flat, but C is the highest note we can play. Here comes D flat, but A flat is the highest note we can play. Here comes G flat, so B flat. You could, of course, call G flat F sharp as well. So let's keep going. B natural. You get the concept now, I'm sure. We can't go higher than C. The highest note that we can play in a B major triad, which is B, D sharp, F sharp, is a B natural. So B natural, F sharp, D sharp, B, and F sharp again. And back up. Let's hit it 3 times. Ready? 3 and 4 and. Excellent. So instead of going through the cycle, let's burn through the rest of these keys really quick because I want to talk about some other things and shed them too, okay? E natural. Our highest note, it's E, G sharp, and B. The highest note we can play is a B natural. The lowest one we can play is an E. So let's try it out. This is B, G sharp, E, B natural, G sharp, and E again. Okay, let's try it. 3 times through. 3 and 4 and. Cool. You're getting the hang of this, I'm sure, right? A natural. Now, really quick, let me talk about this. Any note that's on the G string within our range, like for instance, C, B natural, B flat, A natural, and A flat, from C through A flat, anytime that we're hitting those notes, that can be the root of whatever chord we're playing. For instance, C major, we're going to play C and then think down a fourth to the fifth, right? It's kind of confusing, but C to G. So C, if we played a B natural triad, right? B flat, and then A natural, like we're here now. So this is A, right? Root to fifth. So you want to hear those sounds. It's not enough to just know that the notes are there on the upright bass, especially, but in music, whatever instrument you're playing, be able to hear these intervals. So a more in-depth way to practice this. And really hear ahead of what it is. These are just major triads, but make sure you can do that. Do you know what I mean? So that we can get, when we get to augmented, diminished, minor, then you can hear all those chordal triads, etc. Let's play the A major triad. 3 and 4 and. Again, we'll do it 3 times through. One more time. Great. And again, if you're just joining us too, welcome. Glad you're here. If you're watching this after the fact and not live, click the link downstairs. You can get the PDF for the worksheet that all these graphics are coming from. It's completely free. You just got to click the link, okay? Join our Facebook group too if you like, and head on over to Open Studio. You can find some really good information down there. All right, let's look at D. We've got two more keys. D, right? So D, F sharp, A. We are not playing this D right now. It's off limits to us. It's outside of our range. Our range ends at C, okay? And we're just playing triads, 3 notes. So A, F sharp, D, right? And you can associate any type of like stupid little song to learning how these triads sound if you're starting to work on them, or maybe don't hear them as well. So D, F sharp, D, I'm sorry, A, F sharp, D, A, F sharp, right? And now instead of thinking that we're practicing our triads, I'm not thinking, okay, that's cool to practice that D triad, that's awesome, but so many times cats have a hard time going lower than the root because we always practice from the root. That's again the point of this exercise. So let's try the D major triad thrice, 3 and 4 and. Awesome, killing it, sound great. Let's try our last key, G major. So it's G, B natural, and D. The highest note we can play is a B natural, of course. And then we'll descend down to a G and then go back up. So we've got a B natural, G, D, B natural again, and G, back up. Cool. Okay, so let's try it in eighth notes. Ready? 3 and 4 and. Great. Excellent, 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 excellent. So if you need to further down the road, just pause this, whatever, practice these later individually and build up steam, build up your speed and your accuracy with these. But let's try to go through them throughout the cycle of fourths together now that we've shed them all, okay? We'll do it a little bit slower. Maybe we could do it maybe like there. That's 80 beats per minute, okay? So we're gonna do the triads from C all the way back through C, the cycle of fourths, descending and then ascending, and then we'll change to the next key. Try it. Ready? So 1, 2, just quarter notes. C. Now we're coming up on F. Now B flat. Right there. What key is next? What are we doing? E flat. So B flat is our highest note. So I'll try to stay in time while I talk. It's not very easy. A flat. C. A flat. E flat. C. Now we're going to hit D flat major. So D flat. Now the key of G flat major. So B flat is our highest note and we go down. Now we're in B, so B natural. We're coming up on E, so B natural again is our highest note. We're coming up to A, and A is going to be our highest note. A. Good. Coming up on D, and D is going to be our highest note. Now we're coming up on G, and B natural. There you go. It's our highest note. Cool. Great. Excellent. Let's speed that up. Try to get a little bit of work in on that, okay? Let's bump it to 100. Okay? Try the whole thing again. This time I'm not going to walk you through it. Try to think of the next key that's coming up. We're going to double the top note when we're going to play the whole triad before we move on to the next one. So it can be kind of confusing. Again, you can click the link downstairs, get the PDF of all of this. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. great. So of course you can bump that up, keep going with that. Let's move it back down to, let's see. If you're feeling fairly comfortable with this, try this with me, okay? I moved it back down to 80 beats per minute. Let's try the whole thing as eighth notes now, okay? The more you practice this, the more you're just gonna be able to see them in your bass lines and your two feels and your solos, everything. And then you expand the range again, and you change. We've got some different variants I'll talk about. But let's do this exercise now in eighth notes. Just straight eighth notes for right now, okay? Start in C. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Back to C again, right? Great. So some of the fun ways you can expand upon this, aside from range, again, we talked about this here, you can build up your range, go from wherever you like, but just set a range. Other things that you can do inside of this is like this example right here. And it sounds something like this. I'll do it as eighth notes again so you can hear it. So we're going down one key, up the next key now. Actually, let's do it in quarter notes, the way that it's written here. Try this with me, just read this. So we're gonna go down C, 2, 3, 4, quarter notes. Now go up F. Now go down B flat. Now up E flat, etc. Go up, down A flat, up D flat, so you have to catch that low one. Down G flat or F sharp, up B, down E, up A, down D, and up G. So you end up with through the cycle, right? Of course, do these minor. Here's some other variants that I have. You can increase the speed, which we've already talked about a little bit here. You can expand the range, which we've also talked about just kind of in concept, actually. And fingering wise, it's a whole nother ball of wax. We haven't really talked about fingerings, but obviously you need to think about where you're doing your skips, what notes, what fingers you're using to make all this work with expanded range. So the big one, make sure you can do all of these in minor, diminished, and augmented triads, okay? You can also add sevenths. You can add any note that you like actually to it. Let me just explain here. So if we're doing the major triads that we were just doing, right? Let's just take major for instance. If you want to make this a major seventh arpeggio, well, all you have to do is add one note, right? A half step below the root. So add a B natural into that sucker. You want to make it C7, you add a whole step below the root, right? Don't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that takes forever. Think from the root, that which you can call 8, think down. So the major seventh is just right next door to C, C to B. The dominant seventh, the minor seventh, is really just a whole step below the root, right? So same triad, now add in that minor seventh or the whole step. Same with sixes, you could do like a C6. Oh, sorry. Which actually gives you like an A minor. Right? Cool. And you can add in fun notes too. You can mix and match minors and majors. So check this out. This is C major, but with also a minor or a sharp 9, whatever you want to call it. Just know what the sound is. So it's got both in there, right? You can add in these half steps wherever you want to creatively. Another fun one's from the 6th, flat 6, to get you like a flat 13 type of sound, etc., etc., ad infinitum. So there's some fun possibilities to practice this main concept of staying inside of this range and really working it out inside of this range, right? So that's the main idea. Please do it in minors, of course. The last thing I wanted to talk about, minor is just changing that third down a half step. So if we were doing C major, instead of playing E natural, of course we're going to play an E flat, right? You can take the same kind of logic going from major to augmented though. Okay, so C major is C, E, or if we're descending, C, G, E, C. Now if you just replace that 5th with a half step higher and instead play G sharp, then these are the same triads you practice, just with a half step difference, right? So if you take that in the key of F, you can't play C because that's the 5th and it's a half step too high. So we'd start on A. Right? Etc. I say etc. like I'm not going to be able to do it, and maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. But it's a fun way to practice all of these suckers. Lastly, minor, you can turn that sucker into diminished really easily. So C, G, E flat, C, right? That's our minor triad. You keep going. You can't play an E flat unless you've got one of those things. I don't. Maybe someday. And again, you alter the 5th. Now I'm just saying alter. Instead of raising the 5th like we did for the major into an augmented, lower the 5th to turn minor into diminished. So C, and instead of G, I'm going to play a G flat, that tritone. And then E flat from our minor triads that we practiced, then a root again, and then that flat 5th again. So we end up with this. Right? And so on and so forth. Cool? So that's the main idea, is to embrace the limitations of the bass and go even further. Take it instead of being able to play all these notes, all these drums, all these cymbals, all these double bass pedals, all that. We're just going to play the snare drum right down here. Play the ride cymbal, play the hi-hat. Bad analogies abound, right? All right, I'm going to head over to the comments and see what y'all have to say about all of this stuff. So let me back it up to where we were. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So a little shameless stuff. Scott saying, "Hi Bob, you and Peter sounded wonderful the other night." Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. It was so much fun. Peter is the man. Super grateful to have him in St. Louis and get to be able to play with him. It's just a joy, if you couldn't tell. Gordon Gary, what's up, Gordon? Thanks for saying hey. This is my buddy. This is my pal right here. This is a bad dude. If anybody doesn't know, Matt Billinger. Killing piano player from the St. Louis area and in Kansas City. So, and Scott, you like Goodbye. Excellent. Yeah, I love that track too, for sure. Or that song, that composition, you know. Let's see. Okay, yes, and Shane, any exercises for right hand articulation and playing at high tempos? So I would say this exercise would be perfect for it. Do you know what I mean? Because we need to be able to play these triads at any speed that the music calls for. The thing to think about in the right hand is when we're doing this, I'm alternating my fingers. You could do this fast with index finger as well, but the main key is to lighten up your touch, right? If you're trying to dig in, like if you're like swinging mid-tempo and you're playing and like really digging in and I'm just playing the exercise, I'm not trying to do anything. Well, that's not going to work if you're going. You're going to be like, it doesn't sound good and you're going to be really tired really quick and you'll have blisters and all that. So lighten up the touch. played 3 A flats. We're about full disclosure here on the building blocks of bass. I played 3 A flats. I gotta stop and tell you. So anyways, lighten up your touch, articulation, and playing at high tempos. Yeah, so slowly, you have to know all of these, well, specifically what we're talking about today. You have to know it really well slowly and inherently, like be able to hear it. Do you know what I mean? Then build that up. And I think practice like that really helps us when we get to composing or improvising at a fast tempo, which is the same thing, right? If we're walking bass lines, sure, we use some of the tactics that we already know, some of the devices we know are going to work, but really it's all about like being able to hear at that faster tempo and then being able to execute what you hear. So hopefully that was an answer to your query, if you're still even watching. So thank you for that. Okay, Ryan Brown, I purchased Where Are the Notes and Scales. I love them both. Awesome courses. Thank you, Ryan. Very cool. Very cool. So yes, I have a few courses out at openstudiojazz.com. You can check the link downstairs, I'm sure. Just released a course called Where Are the Notes? And we're going through all of our different positions, the Smandl positions, walking with scales, how to utilize playing with scales into your walking bass lines, hopefully make them sound real pretty. So when we have other courses coming up, like the building blocks of bass, if you're just getting started with upright bass or you're considering getting started with upright bass, the building blocks of bass is a good course for that too, because we go from fundamentals way down. Oh man, I got another good buddy right here. What's up? What's up, D? Demarius Hicks, Delirious Hickey. Yeah, I just said that live on YouTube from our buddy Pita Williams. So this is a bad dude right here on drums. So you better not be starting upright bass, man. I need these gigs in St. Louis, bro. You can't take my gigs. Demarius Hicks, love you, man. All right, cool. Oh yeah, Costa's like, Iron Man sounds boss on the Doghouse in a sound check classic. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. You walk into, is Guitar Center still a thing? But I remember walking into Guitar Center and that's what you would hear. Especially in the bass section, because it's all, anyways, I won't say any more than that, but yes. Right? Robert Downey Jr. All right, cool. Let's see. Chris H., this is a popular first-year exercise at university. You really have to think. I love how you go through the cycle of fourths. A lot of useful patterns emerge. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Actually, Chris, I went to the University of North Texas. I went to the new school, technically this new school for social research when I was there. I never had anybody show me this exercise. It took a while for me to be like, oh yeah, you need to expand your range and not just go from root to root, but it is a fundamental thing to know, right? And yeah, when you end up changing the quality of the chords, the range that you're dealing with, it really opens up the bass and the fingerboard in a different way. So yeah, but right on, it's completely, I think it's essential. So let's see, Floyd Church is going way back, the deep cuts, the first video, yes. Inverted and tighter range of the first video, because I think one of the first videos that we did here at the Building Blocks of Bass was triads, because it is so essential. So yeah, Floyd Church going way back, super fan. We need a badge. Cool. All right, Floyd shirts. Okay, what's up, Thomas? Thanks a lot, Bob. It will be my week's study. Excellent. Yeah, do this with the bow. Do it on the electric bass, Sing through this exercise. If you get like a little tuning fork, I'm looking around for my tuning fork, you can sing through this exercise. It's even more to get it inside your, in your being. It's just that essential. Let's see. Alexandra, what's up? How are you? I remember an earlier stream going up to the G octave. So good. And yes, playing in a range really makes you think rather than just relying on your muscle memory. That's exactly what I needed to say. Thank you, Alexandra. Yes. It's not about muscle memory, because when you change that range, you have to think differently and you have to open up your ideas. And yes, we covered triads before, and we will cover triads again. Right? But it's a different play on the idea of using triads and really getting to know them, right? So yeah. Oh, and Thomas beat me to it, I think, with your comments. With Arco too. Amen. Do it with Arco. Yes, please do it with Arco. That is essential work. Yes, for sure. Let's see. All right, Dave. What's up, Dave? Good to see you as always. I really like when you take an exercise concept like this and do a deep dive. Lots to work on in practice, and it will show up in songs too. Thanks, Dave. Yes, absolutely. So taking an exercise like this, it's again, it's something I've worked on a bunch. Will continue to work on and try to expand on. Um, and yeah, it's realistic. It's real life exercises, right? We're not just sure you can play scales, and you could do the same thing with scales, obviously. So if you're trying to play this is nothing new as well. Chris, first year university studies, right? Do the same thing. Start low and say, I'm going to play up to here. It's still C major, but the cats are going to call it E. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, right? I've got a master's in music. Right, they'll call it a mode, right? Let's see. Okay, Floyd shirts. Have you ever taken the pork chop to a traditional jazz gig? Thoughts or stories? Why or why not? To a traditional jazz gig, not unless it was a necessity. There's a time that comes to mind when I was doing some work for Jazz at Lincoln Center, and we were touring. We were actually in Arizona. I think we were in Mesa, and the upright bass that was there, the the sound cats had brought it in. The neck was falling off the bass by the time I opened it and took it out of the case. So I couldn't play this bass, and we really had to just rely on the next best option, which was an electric bass, the pork chop, and it's fine. You have to think. I think about treating it like it's the role of the gig, right? I wouldn't pluck like close to the bridge on the electric for a traditional jazz gig. Maybe if I was soloing, but to do the role, pluck a little closer to the fingerboard pickup, get a little thumpier sound, of course. I think that's totally fine. I mean, case in point, Steve Swallow. Beautiful. Who's the cat? Somebody help me out. The cat that's been playing with Kurt Rosenwinkel, too, on electric bass, who is beautiful. Dario? Somebody help. I know somebody knows. Somebody let me know. But yeah, I think, and if I was braver, I guess, depending on who I'm playing with too, bringing the electric bass just as a challenge, perhaps. That's totally. I mean, why not? Music is music. The instrument is the instrument, but really, it's coming from us, right? So, I don't know. What do you think, Floyd Shirts? Okay, Chris. In your head, are you thinking notes, intervals, or patterns? At this point, I am thinking pitches, kind of, really. I can also think, and I'm likely it's the same. I'm thinking, yes, there are 3 notes inside of each key that I'm dealing with. Do you know what I mean? So I am thinking about those 3 notes. Like if I'm in D flat, I'm thinking D flat, F, A flat, right? But I'm also thinking more about my limitation. Like I'm thinking more about like, oh, I can't go up there. I'm thinking ahead. This exercise is good for that too, if you do it and change the range a bunch. I'm trying to think ahead of, okay, well, crap, I can't play a D flat, right? So I have to think ahead when I'm coming from A flat. I need to double up on that A flat. But doing this exercise really slow and hearing those intervals deeply, I think that's the key. It's really cool to be able to play this. It's essential to be able to play this fast, and it's really cool to be able to do that and hear it. It sounds great. But of course, slowing it down, really getting the intonation where it's at, and even more than that, being able to hear what it is, because if you're playing one note, piano player plays the next chord, what's that next right note got to be? You need your ears to tell you. So not really thinking too much beyond that, but that's more like taking the exercise into real life. Okay. Buster Bass, you're back. Been getting more from your tutorials than I have from my bass instructor lately. No, what's up, Buster? Good to see you. Don't tell your instructor that, or whatever, I don't care. But I'm really glad that you're getting stuff out of that. That's very nice. Thank you. That's really what I need to be saying. So I appreciate that, Buster. All right. JL? Completely overwhelmed with scales, triads, modes, 1,000 standards. Man, I hear that. Advice on what's most important for jam session ability. Ooh. JL's breaking it down. Yes, indeed. Yes, there's a ton of stuff and it never ends, and that's part of the beauty of being on this bass path, or whatever you want to call it, music path. Yes, and it can be overwhelming. There's a billion scales, triads, like we're doing today, modes, 1,000 standards. What's most important for a jam session ability is your beat, your sound, uh, knowing those tunes. I mean, if you're talking about a jam session, that kind of goes into it. Your sound, having a good sound, especially in the bass area. You know, if we're going to a jam session, the bass player, 99% of the time is walking or playing at a two feel, right? Doing the roll. So, I mean, you don't need to work, on soloing so much. It's really a good call to be able to know the melodies of these standards. And I would say, don't learn 1,000 standards, learn five super really well, like in a bunch of different keys. And that will help to expand your repertoire of tunes that you know, because you learn like some of those standards, and maybe this is likely already something you've heard or have already been over before. But for anybody else that cares, if you learn, I don't know, whatever tune, Autumn Leaves in 12 keys, well, some of that is going to transfer to another tune and you'll be able to hear it, you know? So I think, yeah, your sound, having a good clear sound, having a good solid beat, because sometimes you can play notes that are not 100% correct, but if your time is feeling good, then that maybe supersedes the note choices just by a fraction. You should play good notes though, right? So, but I hear that. Um, I'll shamelessly plug my Building Blocks of Bass course again because we cover a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? We go through how to learn a tune, how to transpose it to different keys, how to get a good sound, how to hold the bass even, how to deal like when you're in playing situations. So, but totally valid, pertinent point, man. I hear that. K Will, what's up? I play electric bass. Which courses would you recommend for expanding my walking bass lines? It's my first time tuning in. Hello from Canada, and thanks. What's up, Kay? Glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out. Um, I assume you're talking about courses from Open Studio. For expanding my walking bass lines, Master Ruben Rogers has a great course entitled Jazz. What is it? Help me out, Andrew. Jazz Bass Fund. No, that's something in Christian. Uh, Walking Bass Fundamentals. Oh, I'm totally blanking on the name of the course, on Ruben's course. You can find it. Just click the link downstairs. He has a great course. I also have a course that's coming from scales, turning scales into walking bass lines. So a tip too, you can go and watch free lessons. You get one lesson, I think, if you go to the website. So you can go and check out a free lesson and see if it's something for you. So go to the Open Studio website. You can watch a free Christian McBride lesson, which is killing, right? So Ruben Rogers, one of my own, whatever you like. And perhaps that gets you on the ball. So yeah, let's see. All right, burning through them. Floyd Church, personally been working more on intervals lately. The building blocks of the bass. The building blocks of the building blocks. Yeah, Floyd, yes. The DNA, right? Putting them together. It's all just intervals, right? Exactly. Cool. So, excellent. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So this is talking about the pork chop versus the upright, right? Agreed. Bass is the function. It used to be a tuba, right? Yeah, totally. So coming from this, prior was the tuba roll, right? Yeah. And this is, I guess it just, it took over coming out of marches and, street parades, street music, second line stuff in New Orleans started coming around with the upright bass into electric bass. So it's really just, yeah, an instrument is an instrument. It's a tool, right? So I feel you. I need to play some tuba someday. J.O., hey, you're totally welcome, man. Yes, I see you saying thanks. Oh, JL's right here. You're totally welcome, bro. Best of luck on your bass stuff. Hit me up. I'm at Bob at openstudiojazz.com. Anybody's welcome to email me anytime. Okay, Will, thanks. Most welcome, brother. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Damien, what's up, Damien? How are you? Good to see you. You said thanks? I'm saying thanks to you. Good to see you. Let's see. Okay, here's Henry, and then we're going to probably have to roll. Hi, I've been playing my violin Hi, I have been playing violin my whole life and just started playing electric bass a year ago. Dope. Love it. I wanted to learn stand-up and just got an electric stand-up. Any tips to switching to upright? So Henry, my brother's named Henry, so I already like you. I would recommend, and it's again a shameless plug, my Building Blocks of Bass course, because we talk about just that. We talk about, it's a course built for people that are new to the upright bass, which it sounds like you are and you're interested in. Talks about everything from how to stand with the upright bass, how to let it rest on you, what height to put it at, your string height, where to pluck in your right hand, how to use your left hand on it because it's different. If you're coming from violin, that might be similar, but it's different than electric bass at least. So I would investigate that, and I think you can go over and watch a free lesson on that as well and see if it suits you. So, but if you have any other questions, just let me know. Okay. Hey Rick, I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for always being here. Very cool, Rick. You be well, okay? All right. Well, that's gonna have to wrap it up today. Thanks so much for hanging with me. Thanks for shedding. Happy practicing. My name is Bob DeBoo, Building Blocks of Bass. Hope to see you next time. Peace.